What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Nearby, aka Neo, and today we're going to be talking about the All-Star picks for this season thus far. Now, we don't start actually picking All-Stars until I think next month, the month after, but right now we do have at least a couple of decent selections, and I do want to talk about them overall. Let me pull up the Atlanta Hawks. So I'm not going to talk about who's actually going to make the All-Star team. I would more so kind of put the spotlight on some of the players who are doing really well right now and I think deserve to be an All-Star consideration. That being said, there are players who probably aren't going to make it because of one thing or another. It's mostly probably going to be because the guard spots are very filled out. I think what they should do instead is do two guards, two front courts, and then the last position should be kind of like a free, like a wild card. I think the center position should just be like a wild card between whether a front court member gets in or a guard gets in, because I think guards can be consistently better than some of the front court members as seen in last year, where I don't think guards like Darius Garland got in the Eastern Conference final. Well, not finals, but the All-Star selection, even though he was better than some of the players that were there, even though he eventually did get in because of injury. I just want to talk about how some of these players do deserve spots. So yeah, I'm just pulling up a bunch of players right now. I'll pull up, or not players, but teams. I'll pull up the Utah or the Minnesota Timberwolves. So right now, it seems like Cat is actually not going to be playing for the next couple of months. And overall, I don't think that he's going to be on the All-Star team. But looking at the stats, even then, I probably wouldn't put these guys over some of the other players that I want to talk about. Though Anthony Edwards does have like an argument for some people. De'Aaron Fox is going to be my first time All-Star for the West. And I know what a lot of people are going to say, oh, he's a guard. He's probably not going to make the All-Star team. I think that the only reason he wouldn't make the All-Star team is simply because they only allowed two guards for both the starting and the bench. If it wasn't for that, he definitely would be able to make it in. If it was like just five of the best players, he definitely would make it in. He's one of the top, 15-ish players in the West. He's averaging the stats. He's averaging 24 and 6 are really good splits, leading his team to a playoff spot. So I don't see why he wouldn't make it. Again, we also have like some obvious picks like Stephen Curry, Jason Tatum, and even a guy like Jaylen Brown who's averaging 25 points per game. The only thing is he's like day to day right now, but I do expect him to play enough games. So let's just talk about some of the teams that do have, I think, considerable All-Star selections. I think that the only All-Star for the Warriors will be Stephen Curry. I don't think Andrew Wiggins, nor Klay Thompson, nor Draymond Green will be able to make it. Let's talk about the Bucks. I think the only player that's actually going to make it for the Bucks is going to be Giannis Antetokounmpo. If you think about Giannis, is that he's just like a perennial All-Star, All NBA, perennial MVP, honestly, at this point. So yeah, let me just go from over here. The Knicks, I want to see Julius Randle's stats because he is averaging like the same amount of points that he did the year that he was actually an All-Star, which is very, very, very enlightening because Julius Randle does need to be like this level. Jalen Brunson is also a really good player for like a first-time All-Star, though I do expect them to not really be All-Stars this season because they aren't really good enough. Not this. Like these two are doing phenomenal this year. I'm talking more specifically about the Eastern Conference. They're the 10th seed. They're negative in the, or the sub 500. Let me not say negative. So I don't think that they're going to make it because of that. Again, record is definitely a really good indicator of what some teams are going to be like and what some teams aren't. Same thing for DeMar DeRozan. I do expect him to actually like get some heavy consideration, but because he's not on one of the best teams in the West or East, he's definitely not going to be in the discussion. But I do think that Zach LaVine does need to like improve his play for them to really be considered. Now, the Miami Heat, I don't think that there's an All-Star on this team this year specifically. This team is solid. Don't get me wrong. This team is definitely one of the better teams in the East, even though the record doesn't say so. I think the only player that has like a consideration for me at this point is Bam Adebayo. The only reason why is because the front court in the West is about to get like, or the East is about to get like really hectic. We have players like Giannis Antetokounmpo. Even let me pull up the Brooklyn Nets actually. See, we're just getting through some of these, but like the Brooklyn Nets have, Kevin Durant, so that's gonna be like obviously something to really consider. They have Giannis Antetokounmpo, Joel Embiid. Even the Cavaliers may have like an All Star too, depending on how good they are going into like the All Star selection. So I think that's the only reason why I would not have like a guy like Jimmy Butler there too, because Jimmy Butler is also missing a lot of time. But Bam is definitely an all-star level player right now. Don't get me wrong. Like Bam is him. The only thing is he's just not necessarily like statistically dominant enough for him to get over some of the guys like Pascal Siakam, Giannis Antetokounmpo, some of the other guys too. But again, Pascal is doing really well. I think that he's probably going to be the only All Star on this team too. Fred VanVleet is horrible right now in terms of the 2 point percentage, which is gonna like take his overall percentage. And overall, I think that he's just by far the best player on this team. Definitely a top 20 player. All right, talked about these guys. The Cleveland Cavaliers, their guard situation is actually gonna be. I think that these two are locked in. In terms of like the starter guards for the East, I think it's gonna be Donovan Mitchell and Trae Young. Unless like James Harden comes back and he's averaging like 30 points per game, I think it's gonna be those two. So yeah, I think that that's gonna be something to look at. Also, Darius Garland should get in. Oh, let me also look at DeJounte Murray's stats, because he should, yeah, he should definitely be a consideration. But I think that overall, those two may get copped out for a guy like Tyrese Halliburton, especially because of how he's playing so far. Over the last 3 games, he's averaging 60 points, or he has 60 points, 40 assists, and 0 turnovers. You're not beating that. Like, there's no one that's beating that right now. I don't know what to say. But the Sixers, the only player that I would really consider to be an all-star this season is going to be Joel Embiid, only because he's going to be playing a lot more games than these two right now. And I think that's going to be like a very big indicating factor. That being said, Tyrese Maxey should also be getting some all-star recognition. He should be. Don't get me twisted. Ja Morant is also a lock, in my opinion, but another player who should get some consideration, if not, should also 100% be a lock, is Desmond Bane. Desmond Bane is him. Like, look at these. Like, he's averaging 45% from three for 8 threes. Like, come on, man. Like, ain't nobody doing it like him. Now, this team, there's like a really, like, Michael Porter Jr. actually averages a lot of points. The only thing about Michael Porter Jr. is he doesn't take that much shots. If he took the same amount of shots that Jamal Murray is taking right now, there's a good chance he's like a 25 point per game, or not 25, but 20 point per game score right now. And because of that, I would actually have him in consideration if he was taking that much shots. But because he's not, I would say that he's not going to be like that type of guy. That being said, you should also work on getting a lot more free throws. But Nikola Jokic in general is going to be a lock no matter what. The Lakers roster is also another thing to consider. They are actually the 8th rated defense. I did not know that, but I do know that they're actually one of the better half-court offenses or not offenses, but defenses in the league. And overall, I think that Anthony Davis is the lock on this team. Like, there's no one who's gonna get that spot other than Anthony Davis. That being said, I do think LeBron James will make it, and he probably should. But at the same time, a team that's not that great getting 2 All-Stars is going to look really, really bad. I don't like that, in my opinion. I don't like it when really bad teams get more All-Stars than some really good teams. Christian Wood should be an All-Star this season. He should be an All-Star this season. But the only reason why he's not is because he's averaging 11 shots per game. If he was getting like nearly as much touches as Luka Doncic, or even like a Spencer Dinwiddie, I would 100% say that he's deserving of an All-Star. Like, if he was averaging the same amount of shots that he had like the last couple of years, but the only thing is he's just playing like a lot more, being more vocal. Like, if he's averaging this year, like, of course he would be an All-Star. The only reason why he's not doing this is because Jason Kidd is, I'm not going to say it, but y'all know what I'm going to say. Jason Kidd is just not him. Let's just leave it at that. So I think that's going to be something to look at. But the thing is, I also do expect Luka Doncic to be a lock. He's averaging the most points per game in the NBA, essentially like 8 and 8, averaging some really good numbers from two right this year, really good numbers from the free throw line, and overall, he's just scoring a lot. They're not gonna get him out the All Star game. Let's be real. Let's be real. Lauri Markkanen is also a really tricky pick for me because he is a front court member. Also, if you guys didn't know, I wasn't like actually putting these guys into the All Star ballot. I will do that later on once we're going closer to the All Star weekend. But if my ballot were to be right now, like if I were to cast a ballot in right now, Lauri Markkanen will definitely be on my list. The only thing though is the front court members of the West right now are kind of cooked. Like there's like it's literally just Lauri Markkanen. Actually, I think Jeremy Grant is averaging a lot of points. He's probably gonna get in. Yeah, Jeremy Grant's probably gonna get in. Jeremy Grant, Paul George if he plays, but I don't think he's gonna play that much. Zion. Like these are the only front court members that I realistically have right now. So for Lauri Markkanen and Co to really be there, I think it's just a walk at this point. There's not really that many like dominant front court members right now, which is pretty cool. Oh, I completely forgot. About him. Shai is 100% an All-Star this season. Just lock it in. But going back to what I was saying, I think that it's going to be a lock for some of these guys to have some of the front court members just being on there because, you know, the front court is definitely weaker this year for the West. That being said, I would love to see something like I would love to see some guards on the West and East get some shine, like Desmond Bane, maybe even Brandon Ingram, not a guard, but I do want to see him get some shine. Anthony Simons is actually a really, really solid player. I love what he's doing for the Portland Trailblazers right now. I do expect him to at least get some consideration. That being said, he's not a popular player, so I don't really expect him to actually be a really good pick. So, yeah. But, yeah, overall, I think that some of these teams are going to have some of the front court members. This is Paulo, by the way. Maybe DeMar, Brooklyn. Oh, my God. There's a lot of front court in the East this year. I don't think Jared Allen or Evan Mobley are going to be statistically dominant to have enough. But these are looking like the front court members of the East. There's around, that's 9. I don't expect some of these, like, if I were to take some out, I'd take these guys out. I expect Miami to be better, so I'm probably just going to take Julius Randle out, even though Julius Randle does deserve to have, like, some shot. And for the guards, I'll take out Milwaukee. These guys are going to have 2. Philly's probably going to get none. Well, actually, no. Yeah, I think I like that better. Anything else? Miami's probably not going to get any because Jimmy Butler's not a guard. I don't know why they keep putting him as a guard/forward. They might as well just commit to one because I don't like how they vote for that type of stuff. So, yeah. The wild cards, I don't know. If they were to give me the wild cards, I'd have Lauri Markkanen in the West. I'd probably have Darius Garland in the East, along with maybe Kyrie, maybe the dude from the Knicks, Jalen Brunson. So those would be the people I would consider. But yeah, I just wanted to shout out some first-time All-Stars this video. And yeah, the guards here, Devin Booker. I don't think I'd mentioned him, but yeah, actually no, they wouldn't have one. Memphis would have 2. They would have 1. They would have 1. They'd probably also have 1. Okay, so this is what it pretty much looked like. So yeah, I'm probably gonna make a ballot later on once we're gonna be more consistently seeing these players play. But yeah, it's been your boy Nehemiah, aka Neo. I hope you guys are having a great one. Subscribe if you want to. Hopefully, if you guys subscribe, I'll push out a lot more content, a lot more high quality content. I'm gonna start doing more high quality content because I'm gonna probably make a lot more shorts right now. So yeah, it's been your boy Nehemiah. Peace out.